Welcome back to Takeover from the crib. Now, I know you're not used to me doing the intro. Typically, I sit off to the side and make little side gestures, but Cameron is on vacation this week. He needed a much needed break for him. So me and Deandra are flying solo today. So I get to do the intro. Thank goodness. So
Okay, so what's up, you guys? Obviously, my name is Deandra.
As you know, my name is Josh, and this is Takeover.
Yeah, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind out the muscle, pull up. Poker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Not that holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing. I don't like Dutch, don't even matter, you know I'm a face. And when I roll a paper, I like to go double. Run up a check, flip a W, make it an M. I need a couple.
So, you guys read the title. Controversial subject. The Nets are considered title favorites this year so far. Deandra, I ask you the question, can anybody beat the Nets, if anybody?
All right, so as we all know, the Nets, when they're healthy and when they're on, they're unstoppable. But there has been some chemistry concerns because they've only played 7 games together, like as a big three. And I think in order to beat the Nets in a 7-game series, you have to keep up with them offensively while applying the pressure on the defensive side of the ball as well. And a team that I think does that will be the Los Angeles Clippers. And, the Nets, being that they're rather small, you have to have a player that can not only play perimeter, but they can also do damage on the inside as well. The player that I think does that well is Kawhi. He doesn't only play on the perimeter, but he plays everywhere, and he's arguably the best two-way guard in the league. And also you have Paul George, who's good on offense as well and defense, and he's having a really good year this year. And overall, the Clippers just have a whole bunch of defenders on their team, and I think they have a chance at minimizing the impact of the big three. Offensively, Kawhi Leonard, he's averaging 24 points per game and 6 rebounds, and Paul George is averaging 23 points per game and 6 rebounds. And an underrated pickup to me near the trade deadline was Rajon Rondo. As we saw last year, what he did with the Lakers, he was able to me, in my opinion, he was one of the biggest reasons why they won that championship. And he actually, I think he was a really good add-on to the Clippers because, as we know, before the trade deadline, they were lacking in they were lacking in playmaking. I believe Rajon Rondo filled that hole that they had, and they're shooting 83% from the line and 41% from 3, and that's the best in the league. So offensively, I believe they could keep up with them as well. And the Clippers, they're discredited now because of last year, the big letdown because of last year. But I think they have a different mentality. I think they're going to go into this playoffs, and I think that they don't want to be the disappointment of this season. And I just think that, it's a championship or bust year for them, and I think they know that. So I believe that they have a chance at beating the Nets.
It's a fair point. I can't disagree with you. I think the Clippers, a lot of people are sleeping on them this year for sure, just because of what happened last year. But I think that there are honestly a few other teams that can beat the Nets. So I'm going to go with the one that I think is going to beat them first. And it's because of the way the playoffs are going to play out. Give me the Milwaukee Bucks. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that does mean, in my humble opinion, I think the Nets are going to lose in the second round. For the simple fact of, let me break it down for you. What did Brooklyn finish in defense at the end of the season? They finished 22nd in the league in defensive rating. There's never been a team that has won the NBA championship that has been a bad defensive team, at least in the last 20 years when they've really started tracking numbers like this. So the last one, I believe it was the 2000 to 2001 Los Angeles Lakers, and they ranked 11th in the league in defensive rating. So even when they weren't a top 10 team, they were still in the upper half. The Nets are not in the upper half. And the fact of the matter is, if they run up against the Milwaukee Bucks in the second round, which it looks like they will if the higher seed wins, the Milwaukee Bucks have the defenders to throw at Brooklyn. I'm not saying any of these guys are going to stop who they're going to be guarding, but they're at least going to slow them down. Jrue Holiday is one of the best two-way guards in the league, and he has been unsung for years. I would rather have him on Kyrie Irving over most any defensive guard in the league. Chris Middleton has the length and he has some veteran guile in him, I will put him on James Harden and expect him to at least make things tough for him. And nobody's going to stop Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant's a generational scorer. But Giannis has the length to at least bother him because Kevin Durant's one of his best traits is he is so tall and so long, he can shoot over people. He can't shoot over Giannis because Giannis has a few inches on him, and he's got a longer wingspan. And then now on top of that, they've got guys like PJ Tucker coming off the bench who we know can guard almost anybody. They have Brook Lopez as a great rim protector. They've got Bobby Portis who can kind of switch between a few positions. Dante DiVincenzo, who's a nice scrappy off-ball guy. The Milwaukee Bucks, simply put, are the best team that is capable of bringing the defenders against they're capable of bringing the defenders against the Nets that would actually slow down that offense. And if you slow down that offense, what does Brooklyn have to fall back on? They don't have a defense to fall back on. And while we've bashed the Bucks for the last 2 years because of their postseason flame out, the fact of the matter is the only reason they flamed out was because they ran up against the perfect teams to play against them. You look at the two teams they lost to, they had a bunch of long, rangy defenders who could build that wall and stop Giannis. With the Raptors, they had Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, OG Anunoby. Against the Heat last year, they have Jay Crowder, Jimmy Butler, Derek Jones Jr., Bam Adebayo. So they had the defenders to stop them. Brooklyn doesn't have any of those defenders to stop Milwaukee. And that's why I can confidently, in my opinion, say Bucks in 7 in the second round.
You're saying Bucks in 7 in the second round?
Bucks in 7 in the second round over the Brooklyn. Right.
My only pushback, I do believe that the Bucks could have a chance at stopping the Nets, but my only pushback for that is I feel like, and this is not to put heavy criticism on Giannis because, Giannis has been playing amazing this year, but I will say this, the Bucks are only going to go as far as Giannis takes them. That's my personal opinion. And we've seen, were you about to say something?
No, keep going. I didn't know if you were done yet.
But so I feel like in past, like how we saw in the series against Miami last year, we saw Giannis kind of shy away from a defensive assignment. We saw he didn't want to smoke with Jimmy Butler. So that's my only concern. You say they have the power defensively to stop them, but will they take that assignment? We know Drew Holiday will. Yeah. 9 times out of we know PJ Tucker will. But is Chris Middleton going to really be able to stop James Harden, or will he accept that assignment?
He better. Listen, my prediction is based purely on matchups. If they're mentally weak and they still haven't grown from last year, that's something that I don't know because I'm not in the locker room with them. I'm telling you on paper, based on what I'm seeing right now, if Giannis comes after this, hopefully the way that he should, which is I flamed out in the postseason back-to-back years. This is almost my legacy on the line at this point. If I flame out in the second round again, then nobody's ever going to take me seriously because I've got the money. Now I need some rings. So he needs to attack Kevin Durant like that. And if he doesn't, then at that point we need to start wondering, well, is Giannis really this dominant player that we know, or is he just going to be like a taller version of what people claim Russell Westbrook is, which is all regular season stats, no postseason wins. So it really will come down to that. I agree with you, and that's a fair point. But I'm telling you right now, if Giannis comes after it and Middleton comes after it, Milwaukee's the best equipped to stop them. And God forbid Brooklyn face Philly. God forbid Brooklyn face Philly, because I think Philly got him too, low key.
Yeah, because like I stated before on in the segment when I said that being that they're relatively small, if you have a big man that can torch you on the inside and also shoot from the perimeter, that's just a plus. So on to the next topic today. We will be talking about the play-in tournament that is going on in the NBA right now. We saw last night Boston beat the Washington Wizards, and the Pacers were able to beat the Charlotte Hornets. So today we have some very interesting play-in games that I am very excited for. We have the Lakers versus the Warriors, and we have Memphis versus the Spurs. So Josh, just tell me what you're thinking about this play-in and in general. Like, what are you feeling about it right now?
Well, I have two things that I want to address. First of all, I'm a fan of the play-in tournament personally. I think it puts more stakes into the regular season while also expanding the playoffs a little bit, which I know the NBA wants to do. So it gives them more revenue, which is what the NBA is always after. And it also puts a little bit more of hey, I don't want to drop to any of these seeds because if I drop to the 7th, like there's a difference now between the 7th and the 6th as opposed to I'm just going to get slaughtered in the first round. So it gives these middle-class teams a chance to, first of all, play unopposed on the national spotlight. So you got to see like the Pacers and the Hornets and the Wizards yesterday play on the national stage when more often than not, they're opposed by somebody else or they're playing against a team that, people are coming to see like Brooklyn play Washington as opposed to just purely Washington. So it's good exposure for the middle class of the NBA. And then again, like I said, on top of that, it provides a lot more opportunities for, more unpredictability. So like we saw the Hornets get absolutely torched last night by the Pacers. So we get to see that kind of sort of, now it means something to finish in certain spots. And it also probably take away more of the tanking that we've seen in recent years, because you actually have a chance. If you win the 10th seed, you go on a hot streak, you can now make yourself up to the 8th seed. So I like it because it provides a little bit more competition in the middle class. And the other thing I would like to point out is I like it purely for the fact that it pisses LeBron James off, because I think it's hilarious that LeBron was in favor of it last year, very much so. And then this year, he suddenly is, well, whoever came up with this needs to be fired, which is a little convenient when you think about it, because he's in the play-in tournament. But either way, and it does this too. Yeah, it provides more motivation to come at the regular season like hardcore. You can't just coast all the way now. As we saw with the Lakers, I'm not saying they coasted. They did have to deal with a lot of injury problems, and they had a very short offseason. But more often than not, LeBron James coasted through the regular season when he was in Cleveland, and he would get like the 4 seed, and then he would march his way through. So now he can't do that anymore. And I want to put this out here, Vesh, one more time. I promise I'm gonna let you talk. But tonight, man, I'm either gonna look like a prophet or I'm saying this again, and everybody gonna think I'm crazy. The Warriors have a chance in a 1-game playoff. Give me Steph Curry, because Steph Curry has been the best player alive for the past 3 months. Who is stopping Steph on the Lakers? Nobody. Give me the Warriors by 6 points.
All right, I'm gonna provide some pushback on that in a second, but on overall, you really touched on everything basically with the play-ins as far as everything goes. To me, I believe it gives the 9th and the 10th seed a chance, because obviously, usually when the 9th and 10th seeds show up, or when it comes to their end of the season, it's almost as if like they don't really have a chance, but most of the time they're 1 or 2 games under the 8th seed. So they give them a chance to actually have a playoff chance. Then you have, it makes it more competitive, really. Usually before the game before the season ends, we're usually kind of just brush those off and we get ready to watch the playoffs. But we actually wanted to watch these, and we actually wanted to watch these games because they mattered. And it's like a little appetizer before the actual playoff starts. So now to you, sir, for the Lakers versus Warriors, right? I hear you on that. I hear you. Now, realistically, let's just be honest. The Lakers should win this game. Realistically, I understand what you're saying about Steph. I understand what you're saying. Steph is most talented. He's having the best year of his career right now. But Steph can go off for 30 or 40, but what about the role players around him? Like, okay, Steph can go off for 30 or 40. That's not going to win the game as a whole. And I see where you're going with that. However, what is Andrew Wiggins going to do? What's Bazemore going to do? What's Kelly Oubre going to do? If his teammates can go off of that momentum and they can feed off of his momentum, maybe. But I just feel like the Lakers have KCP and they have Caruso, who can maybe attempt to stop Steph Curry. They can chase him around. They can attempt. Who is size-wise? Who is stopping Anthony Davis? Who's stopping Bron? Who's stopping – even I throw in Aldridge. Who's stopping Aldridge? Okay, you can put Draymond on LeBron. Who's stopping Anthony Davis?
Kevon Looney's always been a solid defender. He just got to stay healthy. I know you're giving me that face. I promise you. Look at the numbers. When Kevon Looney is healthy, he drastically improves. This is what I don't know how much this is known. I didn't know this until 2 days ago. The Warriors were a top 5 team defensively this year in defensive rating. They were top 5. I didn't know that.
Okay, but let's look at the reason why the Lakers are in the spot that they're in right now. The reason why the Lakers are in the play-in right now are because they aren't healthy. If the Lakers
And that's
were,
why I say the Warriors win.
but listen, if LeBron on a bum ankle and Anthony, okay, I see where you're going, but I can't side with you on that. I'm picking the Lakers.
Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. I'm telling y'all, I'm either gonna look like a prophet with this uploaded after tonight, or I'm gonna look like a
or you're gonna look silly. Yeah.
And people are gonna continue to question my credibility on this show. And the fact of the matter is, I don't care either way. I'm telling you what I see right now. The Warriors have a defense. The Warriors have Stephen Curry, and that's enough for me to bet on them. Give me the Warriors for the 7th seed. That is going to wrap this show up for today. Do you got anything you want to say?
I just wanted to say, one of my favorite players is in a playing tournament today too. Ja Morant, I'm a Grizzly. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm rooting for my boy today. But that's all I got to say.
I gotta wait to see my favorite player because we actually made the playoffs legitimately. But I'm excited to see the Hawks-Knicks series. Personally, I think that's going to be the best series of the playoffs because the 4-5 is always a super exciting matchup. I always hate watching the 1 through 8, the 1-8 games because the 8 seed just gets bludgeoned. But and shout out to Cam. We missed him very much. I hope, Cam, you're enjoying your vacation, and I hope that you very much enjoy this episode. And I hope he comes after me in the comments, honestly. But, that'll do it for the show. Takeover out.
Knicks in 6.
Oh.
Hey, champ. Yeah, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind all the muscle, pull up. Poker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Not that holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing. I don't like Dutch, don't even matter, you know I'm a face. And when I roll a paper, I like to go double. Run up a check, flip a W, make it an M. I need